Sveiki, aš Liudas. Ačiū, kad visi atėjote. Mano pranešimas turėtų būti anglų kalba. Is there anyone speaking in English only? All right. Okay, so I'll switch to English then, because it's a promise for you guys. So my target is actually today to do overview what is happening in the payments industry. And I thought about two perspectives. One is just to go through Baltic market, what is happening here, what kind of technologies we are developing. But the other one was to make a bigger scope about where the industry is moving. Because when 3 years ago I was in a banking conference, sitting with the bankers, discussing about is the industry changing or not. There were different discussions about that. And the bankers were quite comfortable about the fintech industry because they didn't feel any impact on that. And now the situation is changing, and show you why. But I would just like to say a quote first from Bank president that said, when we launched Direct service, it is actually online banking for clients. They have 34.4 million clients. Their losses were 1 billion. So he said, so it's not a question about 20 million of investment. So where this industry is moving? In 2015, the fintech industry financing was about 4 billion, and it's now expected to be more than 30 billion US dollars. And it's moving quite fast, actually, and we'll see why. The first thing, let's say, boom this year was the other type of banking. Does anyone know Moneza? Quite a few. So it's actually an app that allows you to open the bank account without going to bank. So you just download an app and you get a British bank account with a sort code and account number. And they send you the card, Visa card, for making payments. Simple as that. They offered it free of charge. Now it's not free. But still, there are quite a few users in whole Europe. The other challenge at bank is the number 26. The idea is actually the same. To feel banking like a just simple app usage and to get a bank account without even going to bank. There's a few quotes from the clients that I opened the bank account in Italy and I got it in the German IBAN. Simple.com. Banking made just for actually saving. So the idea is of Simple.com to follow up all your expenses and just to know how much exactly you can spend. Revolut, the other startup that offered actually the card that knows what currency and in what country you're paying. And it's a multi-currency card and converts the currency automatically, so you don't pay interchange fees or something like that. Idea is to convert the currency in the back end, not allowing to convert the currency for the acquiring bank. Interesting thing about the fintech startups is the investment size. Tandem Bank, which wants to do the same actually as previous ones, got an investment of $167 million just for the idea to create a simple bank for users that allows to download an app, to see your expenses, where you're spending, to make a simple banking. And actually, nobody still knows how does it look like, what is the banking with the feeling, but they're trying to do that, and they got an investment. And it's not the only one that got an investment. Monda, that says that they will make your banking as smart as your smartphone. So I hope you don't have non-smartphone, but they got an investment as well, and it's yet not public, and they're now raising other funds around. They want to do the same. Starling Bank from UK got an investment of $70 million again for a simple bank to be with the user and to fulfill their user needs. Other two banks, one in Germany, one in UK, asking what the bank should be. Of course, we've seen a lot of startups this year that are going through the other side. So they're not acquiring users, they're not asking to open an account with them. They ask you to download an app, to input all the cards with them, and to get one card for using the other ones. So as you see from all the examples I showed you, the fintech industry or the founders of companies are thinking that the banking has to be user-friendly and it has to be with the user in the smartphone, understanding what kind of expenses he is having every day, how much he can afford to spend more, or what kind of things he can buy, even to lend, and then to do other things with his account. This year we had quite a few acquisitions as well. One of the interesting things for actually our region was that Klarna bought software in the value of 150 million euros. So it's quite an interesting acquisition because Klarna shows that it wants to spread quite fast and quite aggressively in the market. MasterCard acquired LOGIN'16 for £1 billion. Again, it's an interesting thing in that case that the card issuer actually goes into transactional business, as the LOGIN'16 serves the transactions between the banks. So MasterCard is going to that part to exclude actually the transactional side and to have it on their side. Interesting acquisition because of Skrill is being used quite actively in our region. I'm talking about Baltics and Europe. Companies evaluating customers that other companies have. Meanwhile, mobile POS sector is not increasing so fast. And sum up with the Paysera and merged, and in my opinion is just because they don't do quite well. Of course, maybe it's for kind of uniting the forces, but anyway, we didn't see any big results on that. WorldPay went IPO with a value more than 1 billion euro. So again, everything talks about acquisitions, united solutions, about consolidation of the market. And Ingenico bought Global Collect for more than 1 billion euros. So all the market now and this year and the next year is actually consolidating all the transactions by having them in one site. Of course, while ones are consolidating, the other ones are doing the opposite. Like a MasterCard in Russia, because of the sanctions, they had a bailout from MasterCard. They had to do this. So they launched their own infrastructure with own card, and it's actually working now. The existing players in the market, they have their own solutions as well. So it's not about just the startups that does the fintech. An example, Nordea Group launched the crowdfunding platform, and they believe that it will actually change the existing infrastructure of lending money for business customers. If quite recently the banks didn't work together with the payment institutions or e-money institutions, now we see that banks tries to cooperate with this type of companies, with the fintech companies, and like a TransferWise example shows that banks are already ready to make their own infrastructures ready for connecting actually the payment institutions or e-money institutions. And now they're moving quite fast in different countries by connecting different banks together for sending money person to person with a TransferWise, not as it used to be with within the bank. The other banks, if you remember, I showed you this SimpleCom example. So it's a Pohjola bank. If you know, it's quite big in Scandinavia. So they launched an app that allows a user to know exactly how much he can spend today. So it actually looks after the user expenses, and then it reacts to the user behavior, and it advises either you can spend more or less today. The thing about this app is that the boring banking app became like a social app, because 30% of users having the Pohjola bank account uses this app every day, at least once a day. So it's an example how even the standard, big corporate bank can become user-friendly. Paysera now is a bank, because we launched, we connected to SEPA, we got an IBANs, we're issuing to customers. We launched Visa card, so now every user can have a bank account without going to bank. Of course, in Lithuania, we have other initiates, other forms of payment. So recently, it is related actually, and to European Union and to PSD2, but recently it launched the payment initiation service that allows to connect to any other bank by entering its credentials to third party, So it connects to your bank account and confirms the payment. Now, there is a big actually issue about this with the security and with the control of this type of institutions. Because when connecting to the bank account, this system can actually download all the data that is viewable logged in, like statements, credits, deposits, and everything, and your history. Of course, when it's used for good reasons, it's quite flexible, you know. You see a one payment window that's united for all the banks, but you never know what kind of reasons might be used for in other ways. Of course, it's not a new service in the world, in our region as well. The software bank, they have a banking license, and they work for a few years now, and then they do the same actually. They just log into bank accounts. And for doing the payments, Trustly is doing the same. So it's not a big new deal about that. And now, recently, Swedbank, in Lithuania, it is the biggest bank in Latvia as well, by the user base, announced that they are launching NFC cards. So now we're expecting actually for micro-faster payments. It will be, if they will launch and they will do that, we expect actually two things about this. So first is the infrastructure for all the others to connect to, and then to do the same with the different tags. And of course, you know, for public transport, for tickets, it would be much easier actually to do on common infrastructure. So what's next for the next year? If NFC will be ready here, so we expect the Apple Pay, Android Pay to come here. Alipay opened a huge office in London Canary Wharf now, and they're going to start operations in Europe. So that share of Alibaba will significantly increase because their target is actually to help Europeans to buy in China and for Chinese to buy in Europe. So it might be an opportunity actually for you guys to start selling for Chinese. Thank you very much for listening.